Okay, let me get some of the chat. What's up, Jacob Ogbara? How's it going with you? Thick Triggs, how are you guys doing today? How was everyone after the chapter came out? I eagerly anticipated the chapter. It was a surprise to me how aggressive and how quick Suzaku was. Like, that to me was probably one of my favorite just aspects of the chapter. The dude was all business. Like, he wasn't there to mess around. He wasn't there to really play after the point of, like, seeing these guys as the threats, as the enemies of his guild. And he decided to go to work, which I actually like. I really enjoyed that Suzaku is similar to Natsu in that manner. It's like, when we get down to somebody's a problem for the guild, then, then we gotta throw hands. Read Mashal? I already read Mashal. The most recent chapter, last chapter felt really quick, because it was just, like, the start of what's going on. And it was just more of a setup over the fight. What's up, Akira? How's it going, you guys? I got here before y'all. Yeah, Jacob Ogbar, the only person that beat you here today was Thick Triggs. Everybody else, you managed to swoop in right beforehand and get in. But yeah, how are you guys all doing today? How's everyone doing this comfortable Tuesday? Or doing Rex? It's been a good day to me. It's been pretty solid. It's been quiet. I finally got around to watching some... What is it, Kong Skull Island? I put off watching that movie forever, and then I finally got around to watching it. I forgot that the initial introduction of Kong into their story, like the story of the whole Monsterverse, was decades before, like, the events that happened in Godzilla. I actually rewatched all of them over the last day, except for the first Godzilla, but I'm going to watch that probably after this. I was about to watch it, but I decided because I was going to stream that I would just wait to do it afterwards, because it's like a 2-hour movie. I wasn't going to wait any longer. But yeah, how's everyone doing today? How are you guys all doing after the chapters and stuff? You were my first viewer. I appreciate you, of course. Do you mean in the stream, or do you mean on my channel? Because I'd have to go back and look. I don't know if it lists subscribers in order. That was one of the things. I know Josuke always comments on, like, some of his first people, and I always felt bad that I didn't keep track of the first guys when I first got my channel started. Suzaku's Fast Cell, that was the biggest emphasis on Suzaku, because power-wise, he beat Natsu in base. Natsu was in his base form, and with Urza, we know that she was already, lower on magic after the entire fight with Yoko, but speed-wise, like, Suzaku was out there. Because even in the idea where, say, like, if Natsu was, decided to jump up to a different form, or Urza was, had way more magic to use and way more stamina, none of the other characters around them, including Gray, intercepted. Urza was the first person to go in there. But I feel like Urza's wasn't a speed thing. Hers was more on just her level of skill in battle. Like, she just could tell that, the kind of tone to him changed and he was making a move. It's probably one of the things, like, I know it's, like, mentioned in, like, martial arts stuff, but, like, body language, and you could tell what somebody's going to do by paying attention to their movement. That's probably more of what Urza did. But regardless of which, Suzaku's speed is pretty crazy. The next chapter, I'm really worried, because I figured in this chapter we were going to get more of, like, I thought we were going to get a display on how exactly his red magic works. For the last 2 weeks, I've just pictured this idea of, like, him with his sword out against Natsu, and the Natsu being, mentioning something about his sword, and we would just see, like, a panel of Suzaku with his sword all the way out in, like, a pose. But that's probably not going to be happening until this Selene fight, because there's no way he's going to have that super kind of casual, barely has his sword out kind of mentality with Selene. Selene is too powerful for him to take lightly, and again, I don't really see him doing that well against Selene. It'll probably be like a fight that puts him into perspective. He can't beat her 1v1, and maybe start leading down the pathway for, like, the other characters to team up. Do you think Candy Flurry will survive? I'm really into it. I hope so. Like, I've seen some pretty good reception on it. Like, I liked Build King, but one of the things is, like, I didn't see people really respond to it that well. Like, it built up a pretty fair amount of people reading it over time, and the sales reflected that. Like, there was a fan base there, but it didn't have, like, the initial kind of, like, response that Candy Flurry gets. Like, I've seen a couple other series that I've gotten it. I've seen series that really get first response and then later get canceled, but it really just depends. It has the weirdness aspect to it that I think that people will enjoy. It does have the also bonus that the main character, they're playing on the fact that she's got like a cute side to her. So I think that'll attract a lot of people as well. Because you're gonna get the people who are gonna try and grab her for waifu material. There's gonna be some of the people that just like her personality. I think she's fun so far. I like the plot, the whole idea of like how there's one other person with a power like hers, and she's kind of not get blamed for this whole atrocity that happened because of it. So I like the style of it. I do. I think that it has an interesting setup. Granted, before I even get to kind of like talking more about it, because I am reviewing it on my channel, like I don't generally review stuff unless I like it. I liked Build King at the start way more, but I think that Candy Flurry has the potential to go to probably get a better, to have a more kind of active and lasting audience. One of the things with Build King I think that could have really improved upon the early areas of the story is more like having more action and more combat in the earlier portions. Like if I could have gone back to the right before Shimabaka really started putting out the manga, I would have said, hey, put Vigor in chapter 1, have some more fights early. And I think the series would have done better from that. It looks like Candy Flurry is going to have some fights early on, so I think that's going to definitely be a plus in helping the series, pick up and gain some popularity. But I'm definitely liking it. But I didn't want to say before people, you hype up everything. I have the Build King because I generally really like Build King. I don't like Candy Flurry as much, but I think Candy Flurry has the potential to live on. And I do like it enough that I'm going to follow it and do reviews on it. Let me get this. Oh, the hiccup right there. Let me get some more of the comments. How's it going? How are you doing, Gravity Dragon? I'm doing pretty good. Need Yuji to get Sukuna technique already. He needs something. Like, really, he doesn't have anything fun about his moveset. Like, if it wasn't for the fact he fights all parkour, I don't think Yuji would be very entertaining in a battle, but he does have that whole parkour, like, the series does stick pretty good to, like, hand-to-hand combat kind of stuff with him. And I do think that if you're going to have him kind of limited in how he fights, it's good that they had something to emphasize on him with. Suzaku, yeah, I remember this one. Do you think Suzaku feels about losing Wraith? I don't think so. The thing about Wraith, you can look at Wraith kind of like Kiria. When you kind of compare like him fighting Urza. Oh, thank you, Kenmano. Well, let me finish my thought real quick because I don't want to lose my train of thought, but I will read your super chat. Thank you, though, very much for the $50 super chat, man. The thing about, like, if you compare Urza versus Kiria or Natsu versus Wraith, both of them lost because of hacks. They didn't lose because of outright skill or technique or anything. It was just a unfair power advantage. I personally think that Suzaku, if put in front of Wraith, he could hurt him. We don't know that right now, but it's like he's ranked above him. And if Wraith... Wait, yeah, I gotta wait for the... There we go. The fact is, if he had no way of hurting Wraith, and Wraith could just hurt him, because we know Wraith can hurt physical things when they can't touch him, then Wraith would be the strongest out of Diablos, and there'd be no helping about it. Because on top of like his power is hacks, it's soul hacks. So I would assume that Suzaku has a way of cutting him, and plus Suzaku's gonna need to have like a crazy aspect to his sword, because otherwise Celine can just at any point teleport him away. He's got to have some way of maybe cutting her portals. Anyway, let me get to the super chat. Rex, do you think about Natsu or the guild itself would react to both a person or a dragon who would turn in a blind eye to people? For example, what if the world is going to be destroyed and they need someone who and they need someone who will just allow to be destroyed? What do you mean by that? Hang on. Think that Natsu or the guild itself would react to both a person or a dragon who could turn a blind eye to people, for example. Do you mean it's like they just don't really pay attention to stuff that's going on? Because the guild is like that to a degree. Unless they're involved, they're not like out trying to do good things. But I don't know, I feel like if they ran somebody who just was not paying attention to the rest of the world, I don't think it would really bother them. Because at that point, they would be on the mission, and they would be really focusing on themselves and not really worrying about some random person. It would be a really interesting setup just to see their response. But I imagine it'd just kind of be the opposite end of, like, how it was in Edelus, whereas, like, the Edelus people were trying to do stuff for their world, but the Fairy Tail Guild members were like, we don't care. We're not letting you sacrifice our guild members for your world just so you can have more magic. We don't know what's coming next, but you're not. It's a future you're gonna have to face because they're not gonna be sacrificing the guild and whatnot. English version out yet. I haven't seen it. I was gonna wait a little bit for the potential English chapter to come out, but I figured I would just do it now. Get get the stream going, get the momentum going, and see how people are feeling today before we end up getting into the chapter. Because like if I ended up doing the chapter, it would be at least, I'd say, 20 minutes of a review, maybe 25 minutes. It really just depends on how I feel in the moment with a lot of this stuff. Because with this chapter, like, it was heavy Suzaku content, and that was my favorite part of, obviously, of what's been happening lately. Like, I've been really much enjoying stuff with, obviously, like, Transcended Magic, seeing what's going on in Ellentear. But the two big hype things for me right now are Celine. I'm obviously very much enjoying Celine's character. Happy as well that she showed up in this chapter. That I did not expect to happen. And then Suzaku, just because I thought Suzaku was really cool from initial setup. He's a dragon swordsman. He has a unique sword. We don't have a lot of people in Fairy Tail that have like the unique sword design, and it's not something you have to have, but it's something that I've always really liked in series when you have something like that, where you have just like a standout sword that has like just like its own presence. And not to be a sword, but like a weapon. And Fairy Tail didn't really have those. Like, we got stuff like Lucy's keys and whatnot, but like even Urza's swords don't have that same level of presence. I'm like thinking like, you know, you look over at like Bleach, you know, they've got a slew of them. And then I'm like, say like One Piece, you have like Mihawk's Yoru sword. That thing is really cool. Or like you know, Black Clover has Asta swords. You know, stuff like that where you just have like an iconic blade. And like Suzaku's hasn't gotten to that point yet, but it's stand out enough, it's unique enough that it could get to that if his character is badass enough and is liked enough. And Mishima did a really good job this chapter showing him being normal. Whenever you can tell who's going to be an important character because it's the amount of material that goes into their character, and how they're kind of shown in the first couple placements in the series. So like, if you invented a bad character that was just supposed to be a bad guy, you're not going to really bother that much developing stuff outside of them being a bad guy. Same way you can sometimes do the same thing with good characters, but you don't notice it as much, because usually when a character is just being a nice person, it's just like, you know, you're pretty comfortable with it. It's not as attention-drawing as somebody just being awful. But with Suzaku, we got to see, obviously, like, more sides to him. In this chapter as well, we got to see him have, like, a sense of humor. He seemed kind of, like, just entertained by the fact that Gray randomly was naked. He seemed to be laughing about that. So, he has more to him that Mishima has put effort in that, you know, he'll last, I think, longer than just as an opponent this arc. Because he's already shown more than I would say any of the other Diablos members did in, you know, this small amount of exposure that he's had. He's only really been in a couple chapters. Not even that. He's been in a couple chapters. He was in 63, 77, and then the very end of 79. So really just 3 chapters at this point. And not even that, because, I mean, like, even in chapter 63, you had 3 panels with him, and only one of them was with his, like, actual body. The others were a silhouette, his foot, and then no dialogue. So really just the 2 chapters with him. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of what comes of Suzaku from this arc. My hopes is in this next fight, this next chapter or 2. Cross my fingers on the idea of a 2-chapter fight with Suzaku and Celine. Probably just the 1, only because I feel like if it goes 2, it'll be like the next chapter is more of a skirmish, and then the chapter after that is Celine getting crazy. Oh, Kinmano, you psychopath. Kinmano, thank you for the $100 super chat. For example, someone who does not care if people die, but is someone who will not go out of their way to hurt people. This is my personal theory on Viernes and my main character for my fanfiction. It could work. I think, personally, Viernes is going to be kind of, like, traumatized, and he's going to be hiding from Acnologia. Because, to a degree, they wouldn't go out of their... None of the Dragon Gods went out of their way to, like, trying to stop Acnologia. They were all just letting him do his thing. But I would say, like, if we had somebody probably in that manner, if you go watch the Starry Sky arc, Kinmano, how Mest was at the time. He was, like, just completely washed up. He was just, like, a drunk. That's how he was for a bit. He just didn't seem to care, and he was just kind of still really hung up over the events of Sirius Island. And just because I'm at a pretty, what is it, I'm at, like, 15 minutes in, they got, like, 20 people here. I'd really appreciate it if you'd thumbs up the video. You know, thumbs up the stream, thumbs up, and, you know, subscribe if you haven't. And if you are feeling, I mean, I wouldn't assume as crazy as Kenmano, but if you feel like, throwing a super chat, even $1, $2, anything's appreciated. Nothing's required, though. But yeah, let me go back to some more of these comments. Kenmano, just settle yourself. You're going a little bit too crazy. We're not even halfway through the year. Actually, I mean, we're like, no, we're not halfway. We're 4 months in, so like we're about at a third, right? But we're not obviously we haven't finished the 4th month, so we're a little bit under a third. But yeah, let me get some of these chapters. Nobody fucking with Dragon Ball Super. I read the chapter. It was pretty slow, but I mean, like it seemed all right. I gotta finish the Boruto chapter. Finish your homework. That's good, Hassan. I always want to get your all the small stuff out before you get all the more enjoyable things. Otherwise, you just loom. Rex, Science and Summer Gajio can eat Asta's swords. I agree, but if Asta does Black Divider, doesn't it basically make the point irrelevant? I mean, well, the thing is that if he eats Asta's swords, he can't use Black Divider. I don't think he could eat, like, the black solidified energy. He could eat the physical swords. Because the thing that people forget is dragons have their own power source. Their magic is a completely separate thing in the fairy tale world. That's why Wendy was surprised that Zirconis could use magic. And when Face was going off, the only dragon that fell to the sky was Acnologi. Because Acnologi is a wizard that is using Dragon Slayer magic. Dragon Slayer magic uses both magic and the dragon attribute, the dragon exclusive ability. That's why they can hurt dragons, is because they're bypassing their natural resistances to magic. You have this extra thing kind of clad on top of it. When it comes to, though, with their ability to eat their element, whatever their attribute is, it isn't limited to magic. They can eat the natural versions, they can eat curses, they can eat, other people's magic, they can eat stuff from science. Kenmano as well. I also read a comic that kills Zero. I still need to read that. It's on my list, because I really want to know. I haven't read the newest chapter of Hinoa. I'm just going to do 2-chapter review for the next one, but I still need to read a comic that kills Zero. Because I want to know what's up with the one dude that showed up on the Tenryu side. Because that guy clearly could mess with like he could mess with Akame. Like he could keep up with her. And I think I'd have to go back and look, but she had the whole curse like that was limiting her body off at that point. So I think he could like fight her prime version, or at least a normal version. I still got to read that. It's been on my list, but I'm probably gonna read it after I get caught up with Mushi Bogyo, because that's the next thing on my list I need to do, because I let that stack up a little bit, because it's got one of those series where it's been done for a while, but it doesn't have an official translation, and fan translations have been sitting so far behind, and they've been finally got a new fan translation group, and it'll be random chunks. So I think I'm like 30 chapters behind where the officials are, and there's like still like 100-something chapters to be translated. But yeah, thank you for the super chat. Don't worry, it's still on my list. I like Akame ga Kill. I just have when it comes to monthly series and anything beyond, I'd say, the 2-week span. If I miss a chapter, it probably means that I've just gotten so sidetracked and I just forgot about it. And then it'll be like a while until I remember. That happens with monthly series all the time. The only monthly series that I have ever really kept up on hard was Berserk. Like, I don't think any other monthly series I like made sure as soon as a chapter came out or word of a chapter came out that I was going to read it. Hey, Rex, haven't read the chapter yet, but your title is so hyped. Dude, Suzaku, this, like, when I was reading the chapter, I said in my theories that I thought it was going to be like a handful of panels or a handful of pages until it got to like their fight. It's like halfway in and I was like, oh shit. I'm hoping it doesn't kind of, they don't mention the guild at all and somehow they don't find out in this chapter, because all it really took was one of them to mention their guilds, because the second Suzaku knew it was Fairy Tail, he decided to attack, and we know that the second there was any hostility from the guild, like Natsu was going to make a move. Suzaku, though, put an effort. I wish they had some form of knowledge on this guy, because I feel like Natsu, if he knew where Suzaku sits in his guild, he would have taken him more seriously. I feel like Natsu would have taken him way more seriously if he had any idea what he was dealing with. Because like, we know that he doesn't fight as all-in as he used to. He tries to fight a little bit more strategically. This is one of those times where his older style would have been a way better setup, because he could have, just went into Fire Dragon King mode, even if that, and, doesn't even need, he could have went Lightning Flame Dragon mode. I don't think he would go Dragon Force. Like, that's his all-in. But I think he would have went lightning or Fire Dragon King mode if he was a little bit more knowledgeable on who Suzaku was and who the level of guy he was fighting, because Suzaku is not a pushover. Like, clearly. I wish we got to see more of a clear-cut display of Suzaku versus, like say, Natsu, so I can kind of gauge where he's at strength. But he might, like, I did the Dragon Slayer tier list video on Saturday, and I put him on the same tier as Laxus. Suzaku might be above Laxus after this chapter. It's really going to depend on the next chapter and see how he really does against Selene. Because Selene is kind of difficult because Urza tired is obviously different than, you know, a full-powered, fully ready Urza. Natsu is in base, and we haven't really seen any other piece of comparative character for him to fight. Whereas Selene is above all of them. If he can do a decent job against Selene, his character value stocks are going to skyrocket. There's a theory that Izuna the Secretary is the princess. I thought that too, because I was like, what's the point of this princess thing? And there has to be somebody important that will give that will give this whole piece some credit. Because otherwise, like, what's the point of mentioning this princess character? Unless it's one of the oceans. Unless it's Lyra or something. Maybe it'll be how Mishima ends up, like, maybe making her a good guy. I don't know. Lyra, what's the other chick's name? It's Lyra, Izuna. I'm trying to think of all the females. I don't remember. I don't remember the other one's name. Off the top of my head, I'm sure. I mean, I can go find it. Look. Jumped in to say Candy Flurry takes itself too seriously. That's one of the things I like about it, though. I really like it when series will have some very strange kind of plot or theme or concept that makes sense in their world. Because in their world, you would have to have that. You'd be very serious in that scenario. You're I think it was 5 years. Into this post-apocalyptic world where candy, giant pieces of candy literally just conjured and destroyed Tokyo. Which sounds a little silly, but I mean, like, you have to keep in mind, like, it'd still be really freaky. And, like, candy is candy, but, like, it's still a giant weighted piece of something. So if it fell from the sky, crashed into buildings, killed who knows how many people, you would take it really seriously. But I like it when series do that. It makes it, once you get more immersed in it, it makes it more fun. That's one of the things I really like about Yu-Gi-Oh! That's one of the things I liked about Beyblades, Beat 'em On, Metabots. Any of those shows where it had just some really weird kind of stuff. Toriko is like that as well. And that is one of the things I liked way more in Toriko and Build King and stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! But I mean, like, you know what I mean. That's one of the things I liked about Build King too, is it had this very weird premise and it was very serious and it was very, jumped into that whole aspect. Which sounds more Ziggy versus Shura, Suzaku versus Selene. Oh, Suzaku versus Selene. Come on. Like, Ziggy versus Shura is going to be cool, but I want to see Suzaku. Let me say this. Selene and Ziggy are both really cool. I obviously like Selene more. I mean, she's this crazy, powerful dragon who went and took over a dimension and whatnot. But that comes down to personal preference. Suzaku, though, comparing Suzaku to Selene, or to Shura, Suzaku has so much more just general hype around his character, the mystery of him. I mean, especially after this chapter. And even though I do not believe he can fight Selene, I like that he's confident he can fight Selene. I like that he didn't see Selene was really a threat. It was Fairy Tail was in the way. And now he's standing up to her, like, no worried sweat drops, just already. And I made a post that it reminds me a lot of Irene versus Acnologia, because that pull up was really cool, and like she did not see, like, she knew he was stronger, but she didn't care about that. She wasn't gonna break. Oh no, I see Kanmano was talking to the villain pretending to be me in the chat. I'm scrolling down again to see what this is so I can see if I can intervene. Candy Flurry was too weird. I like it though. The weirdness, like I said, is one I like. From the chapter, Natsu's dying right now. He's not dying. He might go to beta heaven, but I don't really know. I just don't really see otherwise, like, how exactly he's going to. I don't think there's going to be anything otherwise if anything comes there. Otherwise, it's just Natsu's hurt and he's down. Wendy should be able to heal him just fine. You have to keep in mind Wendy is also Nancy and Helen Terror. He can probably heal both of them with zero problem. Unless there's something with the attacks. Because I was looking at it and wondering, like, what if the attacks themselves aren't as deep, but he hit them with blood? Because the whole theory that his dragon ability will have to do with blood is still on the table. And it would make sense if it was like the wound wasn't that bad, but the dragon, like he was using dragon blood to make it worse. But that would be like something maybe Wendy would have to overcome to heal them. Because otherwise Wendy should be have no problem just, hey, give me 10 seconds, bam, heal him. There was even that point when they came over into Ellen tier, and Ferris had that gut wound when Celine shot her. And Wendy tried to heal her, but, like, she said that, like, she didn't even notice it, it had finished. So her healing must be, highly accelerated, too. And we haven't really seen her do much since then. I wish Build King Samurai 8 didn't get axed. I really wish Build King didn't get axed. Samurai 8 was a little bit weird. Like, they gave it all this extra stuff. But the thing about... I mean, Samurai 8, I think, legitimately could have done so much better if they just spread out the material more. Because, like, the first 15 or 16 chapters just felt like it should have happened in 3, and then everything after that was just like random info dumps, like way too much, way too fast for a series that people were already kind of in a rocky area with. Whereas with Build King started out with like it would have like kind of like a similar thing of info dump like waves, but it was all stuff that like was already relevant. You were just kind of getting info to it. I wish that it was just a little bit faster. I feel like it could have done better. I'm looking at the channel for author Nicholas Drew. I don't know who that is. But yeah, look, I mean, what is he for, though? It's cool that YC's... Oh, I was very happy. I don't know if you watched my review yet, but I was very happy Wise at least called out Laguna on that. Because it's just like, somebody needs to tell this dude to calm the fuck down. Takachi and his hammer got replaced. I was sad about that, but I do like Candy Flurry, so at least the series that took its spot is something that I can enjoy. Because I tried reading that blue box, but it's just like a shoujo. It's not even like a romantic comedy. It's just like a romance manga. And I was just like, I don't really know if I want to read that. Like, I don't really care much for just like, if it's just going to be like a harem, not even a harem series. I think it's literally just romance, the manga. I'm not looking for something like that. Maybe other people are, but I don't know. The Silent Lollipop user is Mitsuki's brother, Bet. Sarah's similar. I mean, yeah, but then she would have mentioned something about her brother, I feel. The villain guy is not me. He is an impersonator. And Sandra, Princess Juna. Did they say that she was a princess of Sandra? I thought they were just hiding out there. I'd have to go back and look. This chapter was woohoo. Dude, this chapter was super hype. 100% agree with that one. 100% agree with that one. I was very excited for this chapter and very much excited to see the last couple panels, because I was like, man, this is good. Like, I was so worried when I was reading it. I was like, man, I hope that I don't have to go another week before any conflict comes out. I want to see these guys fight. And then they started fighting like halfway in the chapter, and then it's like, okay, cool, what happens next? And then Celine freaking shows up, and I'm just like, what is this psycho ass woman doing here? What is she up to today? And she just strolls right on in. Like, there was no, oh, I'm interested, I'm just gonna go there. No, she's just there. She just pops up. She wasn't having any of their patience. She's decided, yeah, I'm just gonna go there and hang out. Celine, man, she's a interesting character, just from that aspect. However, I am a big fan though of Celine. I mentioned it before. If I'm gonna simp for any character, it's gonna be Celine. Let's see. Is the pig from Candy Flurry related to Hawk from... Oh, I don't think... I mean, obviously no, but I'm wondering what the point of that pig was. What's up, Gene, though? How are you doing today, man? He said Natsu was stronger than Suzaku, but yeah, but he was in base. I will say he's in base. But, I mean, like, Suzaku's strength was an estimation. I will be really surprised if Suzaku is somehow stronger than full power Natsu. Like, he should have Dragon Force, but, I mean, like, Natsu's Dragon Force is so strong... I don't know if he could beat him. Do you think that the dragon war that Celine probably found acting like a killing and all the dragons entertaining? I doubt she really cared, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I understand, but I'm like, Natsu was in base. I would really like to see them have a serious fight. I don't know if we're ever going to get to see a serious fight between them. I'm just guessing. My bet is if the point where we see both of them fighting seriously, it'll probably be on the same team by then, and maybe against Celine. I think we'll get a Gray versus Akune and Lucy versus Mimi rematch fights. Yes, I do. With Lucy, I'm more curious as to what else Lucy can do. I still believe that she can pull out the Celestial Spirit King. And then with Gray, it's really going to depend what Gray can do to Diamond Effect. And I mean, I was gonna say, like, I want Hakune to have more techniques. I don't expect her to have, like, 50. I'm hoping she's got, like, maybe one or two more, maybe a couple tricks up her sleeve. But I mean, like, because otherwise the second Greg figures out a way to get past Diamond Effect, maybe whenever his advanced magic gets, then he's done. Then he wins. Asta over Natsu in the tournament. I mean, Natsu in Grand Magic Games? Yeah, Natsu wasn't that crazy in the Grand Magic Games. He was, like, low... Like, Natsu was, like, low Wizard Saint level then. Like, that was before a lot of the power levels started to really jump for a lot of the main cast people. Because outside of, like, a couple... Like, stuff like Ethereon, there wasn't a lot of big power levels in Fairy Tail until around... Just big characters like Hades started showing up, Zeref, Acnologia, and then it was around when we got to Tartarus that things started to really jump up. Like Silver's casually freezing entire landscapes, including mountains. We had the Celestial Spirit King tearing through an entire island from like beyond the horizon, tearing up the landscape with Meteor Blade and stuff. Margear casually fighting him in base with one hand. Like, stuff was crazier at that point, but, yeah, I mean, the Grand Magic Games, yeah, Natsu wasn't that powerful at that point. Like, Mest as a character, Mest, I'm kind of, like, with Mest. I don't hate him. The only thing I'd kind of be a little bit cautious on is he definitely shows them lolicon tendencies. I'm not going to hate him, but, I mean, like, definitely stay away from Wendy, 100%. Like, man, be a little wary there. That's how people throw hands. But, the thing I was a mess is he somehow tends to make most scenarios he's in worse. Like, he almost always tends to make them get more dangerous and more risky. I mean, like, even in the last arc, he was mind controlled, but he's the one that teleported and let Alderaan back. I almost said Slayin. Favorite Dragon Quest die character? Oh, I haven't watched that yet. I'm going to watch that at some point. I'm probably going to wait till it's over. Kenny first chapter is good? Yeah, that was pretty good too. What do you think somewhat more justifiable in their quest for vengeance, acting against the dragons, or Scar against the alchemists? None of them. I mean, in reality, none of them. Because Acnologia was really just going off of the dragons he knew, and not all dragons. The same way the way that the original Acnologia was going after humans instead of, he was going after just humans instead of the ones that, hurt him and the other dragons. When you blame a mass collection of people for stuff that, especially like guys they never met or will meet do, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, at that point, I'd just be like, why? Because, like, if you're one of these guys and your mindset is, X, dragon or Ishbal or whatever, or actually, I guess his were state alchemists or whatever. If their whole mindset is like, oh, they're all like murderers, psychos, and killers. Oh, one second. I'll read that comment in a second there, Rob McLennan. Let me finish my train of thought. If you have this mindset, like, all these guys are, like, crazed killers, they want to do all this bad stuff to you and whatnot, and it's like you run into one that's normal, it's just like, well, then your logic is flawed, and then you failed. So, I don't know. I would just say all of them, like, hey, how about you guys just realize that, like, people are shitty, but there's also people that aren't shitty. And that goes for dragons, that goes for freaking the humans and the elves, that goes for the state alchemists and the Ishbalans. Like, it's just people. People, like, there's a large amount of people that forget that. It's more just like people are bad across the, like, there's no select set of people that are like, these guys are awful. It's more of just like, well, it's all choice based. So it's more of like people choose if they're going to be good or bad. So you can't just decide everybody is just for over some like big veil like that. It doesn't make any sense. Crunchyroll or Funimation to stream anime. I don't use either of them. I don't really stream anime though. Oh, or do you mean? I was thinking like for the stream. To watch. I have both. I personally like Funimation's more. They seem to have better quality. Until what happened for which one? Go anime. I've used that one too. Kimono, come on. Oh, you just got a pay raise? Come on, congrats, dude. Always nice when people are moving up. The latest One Punch Man chapter was wholesome yet depressing. I want to know these days I'm going to catch up with One Punch Man. He's paying the big bills, 100%. Buy my cat's new car. Since Not My Love could burn magic concepts. I don't even think they fully could. I think they can only burn mana. And I've talked in depth with Josuke. I've talked to Quan. I've talked to J-Cloud. Because the thing is, here's the big thing about that statement. Noct was inside of his own spell. Their spells covered the entirety of Noct's spells. Noct wasn't dead. So I don't think they could do the same, like the whole idea of burning concepts. All they really did was destroy mana. With Natsu burnt time. Zeref differentiated magic and time. Like, the idea of time. Bit of a different thing. I actually am on board with, like, I don't think Nama and Lilith are as impressive as a lot of people put them out. I still think Zagreus is stronger than they are. You need to do more character discussions on Rave Master characters. At some point, I am going to extend out my character ones. I still need to... I'm going to skip over Ivan, because every time I think about doing Ivan, I just want to do something else. It's like probably how I'm pretty sure it'll happen with Mishima. But I'm going to do Zenkro, and then I might do a one on Wall. But yeah, I have some planned. I've just been trying to focus on a couple other things. But I think I'm going to try and get a bit more content out for this next span of a month or so. I'm hoping, don't quote me, don't take any time periods. I'm hoping to get to the point where I can do like a character video every other week or something, maybe. That might be the idea. I don't want to give selective dates, but that's just it. Like, if I give selective dates, then I'm gonna end up like just procrastinating, and then I'll keep kind of like slipping on it and not get it. Let me get to this comment. How do you feel about the most recent chapter of Mission Yosakura Family? I thought it was pretty good. I like the dynamic going on between Taiyo. Oh, I'm gonna forget the brother's name every time. Koichiro. It's funny because like 40 plus chapters I didn't like him, and then he started to kind of cool down, but then he just wasn't in the manga as much because they've been focusing on a bunch of the other characters, so I've forgotten his name. But I like the dynamic between them. I like that he's being a lot more tame and a lot more regular. Because I didn't mind like his over the top nature, but it was just like, man, you're just a jerk like almost every single time someone's around you. And then the bad guy, I actually like him. I think he's kind of cool. Where they're like talking about his age. I think it was like he was in World War II. Then you see him like his body like reattach itself. He's like not using one of like the replications of the whole blooming power, but he's got like the actual one. But he's also like regenerate to make like creatures and stuff. Like, he's pretty neat. I like him. I was really worried that he was going to be defeated here, and then it was like, well, what are they going to do? They're going to run out of the bad guys. But it looks like he's going to be a longer running guy, some Naraku type thing, where it's going to, you know, he's going to get away, and he's going to have all these ways to escape. But I thought it was a really good chapter. I thought it was pretty solid. I might start reviewing it. I'm not too sure. It's on my maybe list. It really just depends, I think. Maybe after this arc, when I can see like how big of a lifespan the series has. Because, I mean, as far as I know, it could be halfway done or something or whatever, and it'd be like jumping on board with not a lot of time left, and I wouldn't want that. But at the same time, I do want to, I am thinking about it. It really, like I said, it really just depends on how this rest of the arc goes and kind of following it. Who is stronger, Natsu or Asta? Natsu would body the shit out of Asta. Here, the thing is, it's really funny. It's like, Asta's weakness are people like Natsu. We saw that with Veto. And like Dante and stuff. If you are better at close combat fighting, you are physically stronger than Asta, and you can just deal with his sword swings, you can beat him just fine. Natsu is all of those things. Natsu has all of these under his belt. Like, Natsu would go in, Asta swings the swords, Natsu's not going to stand there. He's not that dumb. Like, he's like Naruto levels of intelligence. Like, he would have some form of comprehensive thought that he would understand, oh, I should probably not let this guy's attack hit me. He's also fought anti-magic before, and before people say, oh, it's just, you know, it's not the same anti-magic, I'm aware of that. But he's going to associate the same concept in his head as, this thing will cancel my magic out if it hits me. So he's not going to let it hit him. So Natsu's just going to run a train on Asta. Because a few literal Pedros start attacking me for reporting me. Oh, wait, what? Oh, villain, dude, you getting in trouble. Don't drag my name in the mud. People are going to see the villain name and just see the first part and then associate me. Be careful, man. Don't get me in trouble. Say Tartarus versions of Natsu and Gray fought pre 100% Dante. Do you think they can handle Singularity? Say Tartarus versions? Oh yeah, Natsu had. I mean not Natsu. Gray has Devil Slaying. Gray should be fine. They will honestly just freeze him up. Like his regenerative ability is not going to matter if he's frozen solid. I mean with Singularity, I feel like Gray could probably. I feel like it's an idea that makes sense in really how you think about it, but obviously it hasn't happened. I think Gray could freeze it, and it's really weird to say, but it's like Gray has the capabilities of countering devil-based abilities. It counters them. It's not the same thing as like a Dragon Slaying. Dragon Slaying, you're getting the dragon attribute on top of the other abilities and stuff that it gives you, so you can damage the dragons. Devil Slaying lets you counter their abilities, but also gives you a damage boost against them. So Gray should be able to, because on top of that, Natsu in the anime, which is also backed by Guild Arts, because Guild Arts was able to break the spell for Blue Note's black hole. So anybody that is capable of neutralizing a magic in an OP way or an ability, and you are of level to do that, I would assume that you should be able to do that as well. It's kind of like how Natsu burnt Blue Note's black hole in the anime, not in the manga. And I could argue that it's the anime scene is canon because Mishima, took firsthand, movements and a lot of the stuff that happened in the final season of the anime, adding stuff. But even if you wanted to not count the anime scene, Natsu should still scale up to be able to do that because he's absolutely stronger than Blue Note. A version of Guild Arts that wasn't that much more powerful than Blue Note was able to do it. So Natsu absolutely should. And Gray, because of Gray's level, should be able to as well. So I can see Gray freezing it. Again, it's really weird because it'd be like you freeze like a miniature black hole, but it's just by the nature of like the power systems and how these abilities work, I think Gray could do it. Let's see. Blue Note's gravity is nothing on Dante's. Blue Note and Dante. The thing is, if you want to compare at least current feats, I don't know about Dante 100%. Dante has, I'd say Dante's gravity is a bit more flexible, and the fact that he's able just to pick up and manipulate things at a much more regular pace. Blue Note could as well, but he didn't do it as much as Dante. He had more, I'd say Blue Note had more, like, raw gravity weight. Like, if you just saw, like, this gravity is X times normal gravity, and this gravity is X times normal gravity. I think Blue Note's is stronger, based off of just some of the scenes where he's crushing the land in areas, and if he's not pushing the land out, where it's, like, making a crater, he's crushing it, so it's condensing the stone and rock beneath it. So everything below him is just getting flattened with zero resistance to the terrain around him. And Dante could do that too, but not to nearly the degree. The thing, though, just the general idea, though, with Dante and Blue Note has more range, but Dante's is more flexible. Like, both of them have their mini black holes, but Blue Note's stationary when he can't move. He's in place. Dante's fine, as well as he can just throw it. Like, you have a couple areas, like, Dante is definitely stronger than Blue Note overall, but I would say, like, Blue Note has a couple areas where I think his gravity manipulation is better. Like, range. Blue Note has way better range, because Blue Note's gravity magic goes up to the clouds. Because the whole scene where you see rain falling way heavier around him would mean that his gravity, the radius of his gravity, like the whole level of range he has to be touching the clouds. Because otherwise it would be like, say it's only like 100 feet above him, there would just be a point where rain randomly just increases in gravity and gets way faster. So it would come down in waves rather than all at the same time. You know? I don't know. With him, I always thought Blue Note could have been a little bit more, but I mean, like, he got measuring stick charactered on his return. That's unfortunate for him, but it is what it is. That's what he gets for just slacking around for freaking 7 years instead of getting to work. Actually 8 years, because 7-year time skip and the year from Tartarus. Rack's making an average $200 a stream. And definitely not that. It really depends on how crazy Kinmono is. Kinmono's always throwing crazy things. I got nice, sane people. Like, we got, like, Robin McLennan. We got, oh my god, I'm forgetting his name. I feel bad right now. Oh no. I'm gonna feel really bad at next time I see him. He's got the picture of Libe, old Libe. Like Jake. Oh my god, it's gonna really bother the hell out of me. I'm gonna have to apologize him next time I see him. Actually, hang on. Let me go to my channel. I can probably look at old super chats and then find it, because he super chatted me not that long ago. But let me see really quick if I can find it, because I feel actually really bad that I don't remember this guy's name off the top of my head. Let me see. Here we go. See all super chats. Jake Miller and John Tate. Those are the two guys. I was getting their names mixed up is why. Yeah, those dudes are pretty cool. Faith's, you know, throw some lovely leech. Kimano's pretty much the only one that's absolutely insane. Rack's the anti-villain at one random point. But, yeah, most people are pretty sane when it comes to what they do. I can't control Kinmano. He is a free man. Couldn't mirror block macro because their demon abilities could be different levels to it. I think with macro there's a power level based thing, because it's kind of like it's kind of like with Wraith, because otherwise like couldn't Sayla just macro Mard gear or anybody? It's like, no, there has to be limitations to it. We just don't know them. Moscow can finally push the button. I hope so. I want to know what that thing does. What destruction scale do you think Natsu scales down? Natsu's at least continental and base. That's the crazy thing, because base Natsu scales to Ethereon. Like, with Wall, Ethereon is not that crazy anymore. And then it was backed by, you know, we have other big, powerful, crazy things in the Fairy Tail world that's stronger than Ethereon. We have Real Nightmare. We have the Space Between Time. We have Fairy Heart. We've got the Dragon Cry. Like, we have things above it. So, like, even though Ethereon is still powerful, it doesn't actually scale as big as it used to. And there are characters outright above it. Let me keep going. I want to get caught up on some of these comments. Let me see. The last comment I read... Actually, I'll just go back to my normal window check, because I was going through... when do you think Ziggy will show up? Ziggy will probably wait until like some weird opportune moment and then just pop up. Because he's playing this, I think, smarter. I'm afraid Suzaku is going to get... No, there's no way he's going to get the God Serena treatment. I don't believe that. That would suck so bad. It would... Like, if Mishima does that, he would have to make sure Celine ends this arc a frickin' 10. Because it's like, Suzaku is one of the other big hype characters I have. And if, like, God Serena, I didn't have that hype for. Like, he was just hype in general because of he was powerful. I like Suzaku on multiple areas of his character, his design, his personality, his magic looks really cool. He's got a badass sword. I'll be so saddened if Mishima kills off Suzaku. But I also don't think Celine would just kill him. I think if Celine gets to that point, I think she would rather just kind of like subject him and make him a minion. I think Ijun is a princess. That's the weird theory right now. I need to see a little more evidence though before I start making claims, but I can see... I had the thought, and I was just wondering about it as well, but I don't want to go too much into it until we get some information. Right, let's see. Comic Vines. Oh, Comic Vines is known for being horrible. Comic Vines is a really bad website. Natsu is thrown in the world of My Hero, that'd be quick. What would his quirk be? Probably some form of, like, heat displacement. Like, I can imagine, like, not, like, eating fire, but, like, say he can output heat, but he can also absorb heat. Like, he says, just a heat sponge. I'd be shocked if Shiki's a human version of Shiki. I've had that theory, too. If it's, like, Shiki's from the future. If not, wait, I just want to be checking out Mortal Kombat. I might. I saw Johnny Cage wasn't in it, and I was just like, man, that guy, one of the only people of Mortal Kombat I know. I think Black Clover has more potential to destructive than Fairy Tail since it didn't end. Fairy Tail is still going. Fairy Tail's still going. And, like, not only is it still going, but it opened up 100 Years Quest with 5 people on level with Acnologia. One is Celine. Like, Celine by herself is stronger than all of Black Clover. Like, she goes in, she just starts... Like, if you put Celine in Black Clover, she could literally just fly around and teleport people in the same... Like, literally teleport people onto the very bottom gate with Lucifaro and the other 2, like, big doubles. And just let them do their thing. Just pop them there, say, hey, see ya. Just teleport them out. And then just start laying waste to the world. Oh, Kenmano with another super chat. Don't go too crazy, Kenmano. Let me see what it says. Rex, I'll tell you about the guy from Hino on Twitter. Oh no, don't spoil it. I actually, no, I legitimately do want to read a comic about Kill Zero.
Shit. You just busted a nut.
if I didn't like the series, I wouldn't review it. Like, I do like quinoa. The only thing is that, like, sometimes the chapters get a little bit too rape-ish. Like, there's been 2 chapters that were pretty much just, like, rape scenes, and I was just like, I don't really want to review those. But, I do enjoy this series overall. It's just, like, sometimes the author can get a little bit too, I want to do shock value stuff. And it's like, man, you could have summed this up in a couple pages. I don't want this for the whole chapter. But, yeah, I'm going to get to it. Don't worry. I'm going to read it at some point. It's on my list. It's one of those things I just haven't gotten around to yet. Let's see. Shiki, what do you think, Shiki having dark gravity? I'm hoping that Shiki manages to hold himself together. Oh, what's up, Phil Jones? How are you doing today, man? Do I smoke? Oh, I don't smoke. Irene affected and shrunk an entire country. Oh, well, moving population. So the thing is, Fiore is huge. Fiore is a small country in the fairy tale world, but in the size of real life, it's the size of a continent. And we know that from the information given by Wall and Demaria, that the distance from Hargion to Magnolia is about 370 kilometers. So Fiore is huge in reality. And Celine compressed that to 120th, or sorry, to 1/20th its size. And she didn't shrink it. She compressed it. She held the matter and everything down for hours. And I really need to figure out, like, how much power it literally takes to do that. To compress something and hold that level of hold over it. To hold that level of hold? Just to hold that level of just kind of grip over that level of power and terrain for that long. Because that has to be insane. That's one of those things where it's just power over time. It's kind of like, I guess, Natsu, heat, like fire-based abilities. There's a level of just general power that's going to be exuding from them every second because, they're covered in fire. And it just depends on, like, whatever the level of power, the characters are at and stuff. That's my man. Don't you think, don't think is Arcane when, wait, what? My man, people don't think is Arcane. I think is like is evolving into Arcane. Because there is the fact that he did affect the devil. Like, he was figured out a way to hurt Zagrid. So I do believe that there's something going on with him. It said said he has the potential to become stronger in the future. I mean, any series has the potential to become stronger than the other one. But it's like, you have to look at kind of like the gauged areas of what's known and available. And right now, there's nothing known in Black Clover that it would even come close to Fairy Tail. I mean, like, Zeref could reset timelines. Zeref was a threat to, or acting like it was a threat to reality, rather. Rex, regarding Ziggy, since Dante's gravity is more flexible. Wait, regarding Ziggy, since Dante's more flexible, Blue Knits has more range. Ziggy's going to be both and defy concepts. I'm curious to know of, like, the level of conceptual fuckery that Xenolith, it talks about with their gravity. Like, how insane is it going to be? But we'll see about that one. I mean, yeah, but Dante, I don't think is going to be the longest running Black Clover villain. I'm hoping he just has, like, a pretty good amount in the whole Spade stuff going on. Blue Note, I mean, obviously we know Blue Note. Ziggy is the main villain of Eden Zero, so he's definitely going to be stronger and have more going on later. I don't like you slandering me as a villain. Your name, it says villain in it. Fairy Tail is pretty much the last arc. Fairy Tail's still going. Like, Mishima has even said he might do a next generation series. Affecting Zach. Yeah, did figure out a way to affect Zach. Imagine Jalal Suzaku. I would be over the moon to see Suzaku fight freaking Jalal. Like, Celine, I'm hyped because, obviously that means I'm going to get to see Celine and Suzaku at the same time. But I know Celine is way stronger. Jalal, though, would be a freaking fight and a half. It'd be pissed off Jalal, too. Like, Jalal would be furious. Freaking Gray is, I mean, yeah, but Arcane isn't a power level thing. Arcane is like some weird wild card version of the magic. We don't know the exactness of what makes something arcane, but what we do know is arcane magic in general is just weird. Because Nero's arcane. Nero's not powerful. She's not a fighter. She's never been a fighter. She's always been about like how she's able to, just be a little tricky with her magic. Her whole unlocking of things. Dante casually eliminated a mountain with a black hole. Blue Knight hasn't got it. I mean, he fought against Guildarts. Guildarts' regular punches, no magic, were shattering mountains. The thing, though, if you put Dante versus Blue Note doesn't, like, Blue Note can bust out its black hole. but he stands there. Whereas Blue Note Dante can just throw his singularity at him. And the only thing that Blue Note has that can kill Dante is his black hole. And Dante's black hole is superior in just the way that it works. So though I think Dante has Blue Note has the level of raw power to hurt Blue Note, I don't think he has the level of power to beat Blue Note. Or sorry, I think Blue Note has the level of power to hurt Dante. I don't think he can beat Dante. Happy will die during the war arc. Happy bot? Yeah, I see it. Man's, would have went off. Yeah, Jalal would have went insane. Dude, he would have just exploded. Who's stronger, Animus or Dragon Core, Irene? I'd probably go with Irene. The thing about Irene, there was a statement in one of the extra, I don't remember if it's the magazine or volume, there was a statement that said that if Irene took time to prep Universe 1, she could have used it on all of Ishgal and compressed the whole continent. Which would have been insane. Let's see. No, oh, they're talking about Yuno. Yeah, Yuno hurt Zagger. That is factual. Thoughts on people's trashing 100 Years Quest? Why, though? That's the more confusing thing to me. Is like, what is there really to hate on? Like, the last chapter was good. I was super hyped to see what's been going on with them. And, like, Natsu got in a bad spot, but it's like, Natsu shouldn't have gone on there. Like, Natsu shouldn't have went in there in base. Like, he should have at least went into Fire Dragon King mode or Lightning Flame Dragon mode. He made a bad call.
Shit. You just busted a nut.
Like, I legitimately believe that, like, Natsu just made a little bit of a bad call there. Because this is not an opponent that you want to, like, kind of gradually fight. And that's one of the things I think that would have just been better for him if he had any idea what was going to happen before this fight. Like, Suzaku is definitely like a work kind of guy. He's not messing around. The second he found out who these guys were and saw that they were, people who were enemies to his guild, he went on the offensive. And he wasn't just like, oh yeah, I'm going to, I'm going to try and like warm up people. It's like, no, we're going to do this. And he decided to get serious. Let me see. Let me get I'll read your $10 super chat. I don't want to. I almost missed the last one because I was talking and I didn't want to. Let's see. Luckily, I just finished whatever train of thought I was on. So, Rex had to feel Noel possibly being a hybrid with Aesir, possibly going with a god that could explain Noel with such a large mana amount and like Mikiko's cursed Aesir. I really like the theory that Aesir was kind of like picked up like a Valkyrie. Kind of like how like Valkyries work, they look for these strong warriors fallen in battle, but and use that with something like that with Aesir. I think that would be really cool. But like the idea of her being a hybrid, I don't know. Like being with a god and then that's like Noel's thing, it'd be kind of odd though at that point because it would be like then Noel is like what half siblings with the other three, and then like her dad isn't her dad, and like there would be no real kind of like twist on that point because like we never met the Silva dad. I don't know. It's a weird theory, though, I will give it. I mean, it really reminds me more of, like, the whole Valkyrie Aesir thing that people have talked about, which I think would be really sick. Thank you, though, for the $10. Always appreciated. Sumugi is too cute for that Resate dweeb to arrest her. She needs to break his bones with a lollipop. I really want to see how he fights, too. Like, there has to be, like, a level of just advanced human stats for that guy if he's, fighting these people. The next couple chapters, I think, are going to be really fun just seeing the world and seeing how things kind of play out. The only thing really ending with Black Clover is just the anime, not the manga. I mean, yeah, I know. I remember when the people from Comic Vine was saying Zoro scale. Oh, yeah, the Comic Vine people are bad. Don't go with them. Do you think Suzaku would be upset over Rei's death and blame Natsu? Potentially. It really, like, we don't have much of what to kind of go with when it comes to his guild, but I can see that as a possibility. He seems like a really nice dude, so it wouldn't surprise me if he liked Wraith. Was trolled that 100 Years Quest got canceled. I saw that. I thought that was dumb. I didn't think it was true. The thing about 100 Years Quest, let me explain a little bit of, like, part of the secret behind their profit. At least from what I can deduce. So on the app, on the the Manga Poke app where it's released, they only release it digitally. And because they also only release it digitally, you You don't get leaks. Like, you're not going to get chapters coming out days in advance. Like, that's one of the things that, like, is slightly painful when it comes to 100 Years Quest, but I like it at the same time, is because I'm not going to get spoiled on a chapter days in advance. And I can't help it when, you know, if I know stuff's readily available to go look and see what it is. Or, on top of that, like, if a fan translation's out, but with 100 Years Quest, I can't see anything that happens until the 100 Years Quest chapter comes out on the app. But whenever they put one of the chapters out, every single person that wants to read it right then has to use, like, the points for the app, whatever, how much you buy. I think it's like 70-something cents, 80 cents for a chapter. So every single time one of those chapter comes out, they're making profit off of a digital. Digital, it's instantly given to the buyer, and they're not losing the money that it takes to physically create something. That's just the digital version. So then when they get to physical volumes, they just have to print enough physical volumes to sell pretty good numbers. And that way they're making just profits. Like, that's one of the things I wish Shonen Jump would do. Because if you go on if you get the Manga Poke app, there's so many more manga on there. I'd be willing to say that, like, they might have close to as much in total. But that's because Shonen Jump has a lot of backlog stuff. Whereas, like, the Manga Poke app has a ton of ongoing current stuff. A ton of it. Because they're able just to have stuff printed, have stuff released digitally, so they can they don't have to worry about, like, how much can fit in a magazine, having to put, like, the papers out, having to worry about giving them out to people, and all this stuff, put them in stores. Like, they're able to get stuff out faster, and obviously the production values are way easier to get through. So there's no way it's getting axed. It'd be weird. Hey, Rax, what's the best fairy tale plot twist? The best twist? Personally, I think Acnologia showing up on Sirius Island is probably the best twist. Just because it's like right when you think that things are about, they're like the arc's about to end, a fucking dragon shows up. This big-ass dragon comes barreling in and then just starts attacking people and then causes the 7-year time skip. This is insane. Think Elsie Crimson... Wait, when do you think Elsie Crimson will show up? It'll probably... legitimately, I think it'll be shortly after Justice arrives. I think it'll be like Justice shows up, starts doing stuff, then Elsie pops in. I think Shiki will pull a planet in the future. I don't know about that. The thing that's going to bother me more is if the planet is not that big, and then I have to explain to people, like, hey, can you guys actually look at some comparative sizes instead of just think every planet is the size of Earth or Jupiter or whatever they're kind of going off of? Easter will probably be Hero's most powerful verse because of the space theme. I don't know about that, because, like, Wraith Master, the Endless was essentially like a giant time white blood cell. It was going to go and erase that timeline from existing. And with Zeref, like, you had a guy who capable of resetting timelines. Acnologia was essentially like a reality nuke. You already had people capable of destroying, like, timelines, realities, and universes and stuff. Technically, Mashimura is the strongest, just because, like, Mishima's already had it set up and established that his series are all in one multiverse. I feel like absorbs some of the energy in the underworld and Zagger for Lumiere. Oh, I think my theory was that he would absorb some of the mana just from everyone around him and then kind of put it in his weapon, and that's how it works. But I mean, like, it makes sense if he can somehow evolve his way into becoming Arcane with just, like, all his crazy stuff, spirit magic and stuff. Gray versus Natsu destroys the whole planet. I mean, maybe one day. I doubt it. See Ziggy being a better villain than Zeref. I find that, like, that's the thing that I think is going to be so difficult to near impossible. I don't think he can do it. Like, Zeref was so well done. Like, Zeref is, like, Mishima's best character. Rexon twice threatened Laguna. I'm surprised he didn't say the same thing to Noah after he put the whole crew in danger to defeat Drac and Joe. I mean, he wasn't as close to the crew at that point. Like, he was buddies with them, but, like, he was not nearly as close. And the Noah stuff happened afterwards, where it's like, well, no, I mean, like, there's a time travel, and then they had him fix it, and then they saw him again afterwards. But, I mean, it was still a little bit of a different scenario. But I can see where you're coming from, though. We need Raxia. Oh, no, we don't need any more Rax parody characters. Noel Father being a god is far-fetched. I don't know. Yeah, I think it'd be a little strange. I kind of like the Valkyrie setup more. I think Eden Zero... Oh, wait, you already said this one. The Phoenix from Phoenix Priestess was said to rival base. Oh, no, they said that he was like Zeref. He was a threat to Zeref. Or he was a threat like Zeref. This Boruto chapter was simp heaven. I thought that was funny. I thought that too, that the, what's the chick's name? Ida? Her power is essentially to make people into simps. She just makes them love her, and then they become like her minion. Even Dragon is stronger than Nero. Dragon is definitely stronger than Nero. I think Nero just has more people. He's got a bigger fleet, and then it seems like his dice have like a future telling ability. So I would assume that Draken Joe would take that into account if ever having to deal with Nero in that instance, because otherwise like Nero would just be a pushover. That's definitely like we'll see kind of thing on at least on that point. But like I said, we will see. Natsu and Sirius finds against Saku. Would he have used his Fire Dragon King mode? I think so. Like that's where I would have. I think Natsu, if he pulled out, I mean, he would have probably blocked the attack, and then just started the scuffle with him. But I mean, like again, Natsu has shown that he likes to kind of go in his forms gradually to the level he thinks he needs. Because I mean, he's gotten smarter in fighting, but like this is just one of those cases where your opponent does not do that, and he goes right for the more vicious stuff, and that does not it didn't do well in your favor. Rex, what's your size scheme for Alderaan? He's like the size of a small country. I looked a little bit at somebody else's that seemed to made him seem way bigger. I have to go back and actually look more into that because I'm wondering what exactly they did. When it's 100 Years Quest, where is 100 Years Quest released digitally? There's an app called Manga Poke, which is the Japanese one, and you just download that. You have to get it like an APK and like download it that way, and then it will like link up to if you have like whatever your App Store account is. And that's usually just how I buy stuff, and then I'll just every other usually like once a month I'll put like $5 or something on there to buy the chapters. I'll get like 100 Years Quest, 4 Nights Apocalypse, Eden Zero. Usually buy those on Tuesdays. Skull and Kyria didn't seem sad or mad about Wraith dying. Maybe they weren't close to him. Probably not. I mean, there was the fact that was it Mad Mole that said, I mean, he was technically already dead. Will I start Blue Lock? It sells 3.1 frames in user. I mean, isn't that a soccer series? I don't want to read about soccer. I don't really care about sports stuff. Also, the Edens are just wait for the anime, man. The anime's taking some steam. I want to see how sales do after a couple episodes in. There'll be a villain group that doesn't underestimate Fairy Tail because the only one. I mean, so far Suzaku took them very seriously. It's like with Kiri and them, they just had no idea who they were and they never heard of them. I mean, I wouldn't imagine you take every single enemy group seriously, especially when you're really powerful. Yeah, I did this whole simp thing, dude. I was like, man, it's a dangerous thing to bring in here. I think Jack should die against Dante. I don't know about that. That would kind of be unfortunate. Gauche versus Mest, fighting over Mary or Wendy. Oh, Gauche is like actually like kind of crazy aggressive, so probably him. Natsu still has Fire Dragon King mode. Yeah, he's got the mode. He doesn't have the Igneal power up. He doesn't have the portion of magic that Igneal gave him. He just has the form itself. Sounds familiar to a starter villain. Oh, I've never played Persona. Do you find it weird that Draken Joe didn't know or remember who Ziggy was despite being over 200 years old? I mean, Ziggy's one guy. Draken Joe has been doing his own thing. I mean, just because it's one of those things where you can easily miss one person doing stuff. But at the same time, like, didn't he mention he knew about his ship though? Think TCU Superman could lift Alderaan? Does he have any strength feats that would allow that for the movie? Because I know in the movie he's still really strong, but I can't think of any parts that would like made him that crazy. At least that I can remember off the top of my head. So I mean, like if somebody remembers, if they could tell me. I haven't watched, like, I've watched Justice League. I've watched Batman vs. Superman. I've watched all of them, but, like, I haven't watched Man of Steel in a long time, is essentially where I was getting at. Do I prefer Noelle or Mimosa? Oh, I like Noelle more. Block isn't about soccer. It's fighting, psychological, and horror. Wait, what? Isn't it about soccer, or is this just, like, a soccer thing that has, like, some slight twist on it? I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd like it. Like I said, I like even if something's popular, I don't really like to jump on stuff just because it's popular. Because I mean, otherwise I'd be doing freaking like One Piece, freaking My Hero content, Jujutsu Kaisen. Like I do the Jujutsu Kaisen weekly chapter. That's about it. I only like to do stuff really if I genuinely enjoy talking about it. Also, that last panel in the chapter where it's like Suzaku and Celine, they're just looking at each other. It reminded me so much of Acton Loki and Irene. That was so cool. I loved that. That made me so hype. I can't wait. This next chapter, man, I'd say that I have more patience for this next chapter than this chapter because I know how it's gonna go. Like there's some rematches getting set up. Suzaku versus Celine. I'm hoping it's focused on Suzaku and Celine. But this chapter had way more of my hype just because like I really wanted to see how like Natsu and Suzaku's fight would really start. And on top of that, I wanted to I wanted to really just see like where this whole interaction set was going. Like it was such a weird set of interaction. It was such a weird set of interactions to just to have set up with like Natsu instantly running into Suzaku. And then Suzaku going at Celine. What he says to Celine next chapter 2 is going to be really interesting. Like, what exactly is he going to have to say to her? And I know she's going to just be herself and probably not take him too seriously. Like, West, you got to go. It's all right, man. Anytime. I hope you have a good night and a good rest of your week. Unfortunately, it's only Tuesday. It's not Wednesday. It's not even the weekend. Imagine you're talking to a girl normally. The next, you want her... Wait, what? Next, you want her... So, oh, we talking about Ida's whole simp powers. How strong would Akanogi be if he ate the Endless? I mean, it'd probably be similar to, like, the Space Between Time. Maybe a little bit weaker, because I do think the Space Between Time is something beyond the Endless. Did I read the Fair Girl spinoff? I did. Did I watch Redo the Healer? I did not watch Redo the Healer. I watched, like, an episode. Wonder how crazy these devils after Nama and Lilith will be. I mean, they don't have to be that much more impressive to outweigh Nama and Lilith. Real men like Quan and myself enjoy Mosa. I mean, I like Noel. I like both of them. I think both of them are pretty cool, but I like Noel more. Who's more impressive, Jack cutting gravity or Kiria cutting strength? I mean, what's funny is both of those sound really badass and impressive, but neither of those are that impressive in reality. Because Jack isn't cutting gravity as in gravity. He's cutting the magic. He essentially just made more of like the blades that he's got on his arms and cut magic, but he had them all over his body instead, and is manipulating the mana so they move by themselves instead of his body on top of his normal movements. And Kiria was using hypnosis. So both of those things are actually not that impressive. I think they're both cool though. Let's see, Suzaku Cheetah Man stacked out of nowhere. I mean, that's... With Urza, I'd say, like... I mean, Urza definitely, like, was low on magic and stuff. Like, she just was not at her full game. Natsu just didn't take him seriously enough, I think, to really jump in and manage himself. I think that, again, that was just a bad play on Natsu. I think Natsu just made a bad call. Because, like, if Natsu said, instead of right to attack, he said, oh, I should probably go into an upper form, then do it, he'd probably still be conscious. It feels weird having to criticize my boy. I don't do it that often. But, I mean, like, at the same time, I can understand his perspective. I don't think it was a writing thing. I think that he just was... It's just a time where, like, where that growth and everything about his character and how he fights now just got into a very bad scenario. It would be like if he tried to fight Acnologia, and Acnologia was serious from the start, and Natsu just decided, oh, I guess I'll just go gradually in form. It's like, no, you go right to your strongest form you think is applicable, my guy. You think Lucy uses the, I can never pronounce that name. Ophiuchus, Star Dress, she turned evil? I don't think so. I mean, she has to get it first. Yukino would have to give it to her. Maybe Urza will learn a lesson and stop wearing her samurai cloth armor and go back to actual armor. I don't think it would have mattered. I don't think it really would have mattered. If he can break her whole clear heart set, then... I mean, outside of Nakagami, I don't really know what she could do. Because we haven't seen her, whatever her transcendent magic is and stuff. But outside of Nakagami, I don't really see what Urza could do. Because, I mean, like, this one isn't defensive enhanced, but it still enhances speed and reactions. So Urza should still be able to contend with him, but I'm like, Suzaku just seemed too damn fast. He was absurd. I can't wait to figure out what exactly his whole dragon slaying attribute does. That to me is like the big up and coming hype. Like everything else going on, I can wait for. I know it's gonna happen, but I mean like the one that has the most of my attention out of like pieces in play is Suzaku's dragon slaying magic being shown how it works. Would you rank Lucia, Monk, Mishima's villains in terms of character rank? I definitely put him like near the top. I'd probably put him somewhere like top 8 or something. Lucia's a character I think he would have been a lot better if the story just extended a little bit more. Like we got like maybe like another arc or two where he was, you know, active on at some point. Like even if we got like one more arc, I'd say where he's not the main villain, but he's kind of adjacent, kind of like what Draken Joe was to Kurenai, where we would just see him regularly, but he's not the one being the main focus. Something like that I could see. But I mean, like he's still was definitely a really good character. I liked his story. I liked his design. I liked his in and out of both his character introduction and exit. Enemy and armor could stop. So no, dude, that would have cut right through. He would have cut right through that. Absolutely would have cut through. You think, like, I know there's a parallel difference right now and how much stronger Urza is, but Kagura got through that. You don't think Suzaku's getting through that? And Suzaku is definitely powerful enough to do it too. Like, Suzaku's a monster right now. And I don't believe for a second that he would hit it and then it would just stop. Larcade of a Larcade's dream? Larcade's just trying to do his job. Enemy's armor caused by Kagura. Yeah, Suzaku is slicing through that. Do you think Natsu's fighting style is boring? No, I like it. I like Natsu's. He's got mostly like the brawler style, but I like his improv. It's one of the things I've always liked about. Even though I'm not a fan of, I'm not really a fan of Luffy, but I do like Luffy's fighting style, and I like Asta's fighting style too because he has a degree of that with the sword. Because he doesn't fight like a. He doesn't fight really like a berserk sword dude, kind of like like Guts, like with just a great sword user. Asta, a lot of the times will fight kind of like a brawler, but with swords. Like he's thinking as he's trying to do his moves. But now he also has technique on top of that. And then if you ever played the Jump Force game, you understand because that was only went up to like I think Witch's Forest Asta, and you really could see like how Asta fought in those games and really kind of get the grasp of what I mean. I do really like Natsu's fighting style though. I mean he's like this sick fire brawler. Let's see. How crazy Sumi channel 1 chapter is more damage than Ellie. I mean not really, like Tsugumi, like we'd already know that she's not the one that did that. Or Sumugi. However her name is pronounced. Lucia have all 13 Zodiac keys. I'm hoping she gets the other 3 at some point. Like, Yukino's good. I'm sure Yukino can find something else to do with her magic. She's got the time. She's got the energy. She's got the full capability of getting moves done. She doesn't need those keys. You know who needs those keys? Lucy needs those keys. Man, Manga Dex, I think, is still down. Man, and Weekly Sorcerer's down. So I'm really curious as to where they're going to post... where they're going to exactly post the chapter whenever they translate it. Gotta keep an eye on that. How high does Berserk scale like Hunter My Hero Black Clover? Berserk doesn't have that crazy power stuff. It has actually like a pretty couple good speed feats. Like Guts has messed with lightning. And then... I think you mostly have hacks people, like God Hand people can like mess with that kind of like reality to a degree. I don't think they're that crazy. At least from what I can remember, because even like the craziest thing was just like very coincidental. Rebecca will do a video on her channel with Meliana since both are cat lovers. How they would get along, yeah. Talk about, I just talk about cats. I'll have to hang out with them. Like, hey, you guys talk about cats in here? I'll see if they've got room for one more. Is Ryuno loved by Mana because he's handsome? I don't think that's the case. I'm guessing obviously it's got some backstory stuff to go on with it. Anyway, let me get to, let me see. What are we at? 21 likes? Actually, got some good likes. It was at like 6 earlier when I asked, so I'm happy to see we got some pretty good number of likes. I was wondering, we're only an hour and 20 minutes in the stream, and I wanted to go for at least somewhere around 2 hours, I would say. I don't really know, because I remember I said in the first Saturday stream that was going to be more going on in this week's chapter. Or this week's, this Tuesday's stream, rather, is a better way to put it. I was completely wording it horrible. But right now, man, I really want to get to some of the stuff coming up here. Like, I'm so hyped for Celine. Like, Celine in general is going to be so much fun to see operate. I've really liked her general style. And, like, one of the things that I think it's going to be most fun for me to see performed in the next chapter, or, well, maybe not the next chapter, but the next sequence of chapters, is if Celine ends up trying to use a portal on Suzaku, like, how is he going to respond to it? Because either he gets teleported away, and that'll just back my point of they have to figure out a way to contend with her portals, or he's going to end up cutting it, and then be like, sweet, they've got at least one aspect to defend with her, to go against her portals. Because when it comes to the final, or the actual fight with Celine, they can't actually do anything if she does that, if they have no means to it. I think that Suzaku potentially might be able to cut it. Natsu might be able to burn it. Lucy might be able to close them. But these are all things that are like in the they could work pile. No idea if they actually do. We need more Irene. Ah, man. Irene, when Irene gets her body back, I am expecting a conversation between Irene and Celine. I need a confrontation. So go ahead and reality warp the world. Well, wasn't the... No, I mean, like, do you remember... Or, sorry. Are you talking about when Fantasia happened? Because that was when Griffith went and cut the super mega tall dude. God, what was his name? What is that dude's name? Completely forgot his name. I was going to say Raksha, but Raksha is the weird mask cloth demon guy. I think it's better with female characters. Ellie, Urza, and Ulti. Wait, Urza. I would go Urza over Ultier's close, but I think Urza has a better long game than Ultier does. But if you take Urza out, I would definitely go Ultier. Do I watch Jobless Reincarnation? No, I don't watch a lot of isekais. The only time I ever really watch an isekai would be after its season, or at least enough for me to watch whatever segment is out. And then if I feel like watching, I'll watch it. Just because there's so many isekais, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of jumping on board whenever some isekai comes out, because half the time they're the exact same, and it's not the same. Of like a lot of shonens have similar traits, but a lot of them do these things in different manners, in different directions, different styles. Like tournament arcs are probably one of the best examples of that. Whereas most isekais, I'm not saying all isekais, is a lot of them have the same start, similar premise. Main character has some really crazy OP power. There's usually some aspect of like they have like a stat screen, look at my inventory and all those things. Like, I'm not against those things, but it's like there's just so many of them that I'm just like I have trouble choosing what I like. Where's the Zancro video? I'm gonna get to that at some point. Well, so luckily for me, I haven't said when they're gonna happen, and that's the thing that I definitely need to make sure I stick with. Is I don't give specific dates, because when I give specific dates, then I fall behind on things, and I don't end up doing what I want when I actually planned on doing them. Instead of, it'll be out at some point, just keeping guys, just keep everybody in the loop, essentially. Let me see. Emperor got Ishika, Griffith, and his body to work. Yeah, I mean, that's a super situational thing, though. Personality does Shura give you any Grimmjow or Battle Fairy to Laxus fight? No, Laxus was definitely not the same as where Shura is. Like, Shura is like killing people for no reason. Maybe you'll get like Grimmjow to agree, but Grimmjow only really killed people that pissed him off. Or the main character I was thinking about, one schizophrenia, which he has high speed. Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Rex, do reviews on Radiant? I've wanted to, but Radiant, I don't think it has a simul release. So usually whenever it comes out, I think it's whenever a volume comes out. And I don't really like to review stuff that way, because it's like, cool, I'll do a review, and then 6 months later it'll be another review. It just, I don't know, I don't really like those long gaps. Usually if I'm talking about Radiant, it'll be on Twitter or something, or in a stream.
I'm not caught up. I think I'm a volume behind because I think a volume did come out. Do you think you guys will be rushed like a Demon Slayer? There's a lot to cover and only 100 chapters left. Is there a lot to I'm trying to think. How much actually is there to really cover? Because you have, I don't want to go into spoilers. I don't know how many people aren't manga people in the chat. And then, this is brand new stuff. I would assume a lot of people are getting into it right now because of the anime. Especially because the anime isn't going to come back for a while. I'm standing on 1,000,000 Lives manga for Isekai because the MC crew just go to Isekai for quests and come back, and the quest is about a reality problem like natural disaster and drug war. I've heard that one too, the million Lives one. I've at least seen the name. Shaman King 2021 is fine. Is it? I actually do want to watch it at some point because I've read Shaman King. I didn't watch I watched random episodes of the anime back in the day, but it wasn't a show that I followed. But I do want to read it because I want to watch it because at one point I did read it a couple years ago and I liked it. I want to eventually get to the other ones too. Is Gojo planning on is Gojo planning what's going on right now? He purposely wasted the sword and the blood. No, I think he just destroyed them because they were threats to him. That's good if you're reading the manga, Phil Jones. The thing is, I think a lot of people are going to be getting into the anime because with the manga... I think a lot of people are going to be getting into the manga because with the anime doing this movie, there's not going to be a season until like a good chunk after the anime. It's going to be similar to that of Demon Slayer. You're going to have to wait. Like, Demon Slayer's movie in Japan came out like sometime last year. Still no word of another season of the anime. And the anime aired in like 2019, I think. I think that was around when it happened. So it's like it's gonna be a bit until into Jujutsu Kaisen season 2. It's gonna be a hot minute. So people better buckle in and be a little patient. And that's why I think a lot of people are gonna be getting into the manga. And I'm a little bit weary of spoilers just because I know that is because I do think that is a factor, at least that I'm aware of, with people showing up. I don't know. Let's see. Fuego Leon versus Gray? Gray would wash him. Gray would freeze his fire instantly and then just go up and beat his ass. Gray can freeze fire. Since Gray didn't kill Invul for what he did to Juvie, do you think he'll have a failed... Do you think he would have failed to kill Draken if he was in Wise position, if Draken took someone from him? No, so because he put a lot of the blame on E&D over everything that happened. If his thing was on Draken Joe, he would have killed Draken Joe. The thing about Invul is, like, he blamed E&D over and over Invul. Like, that was the source of a lot of his problems, so that was his focus. It would be like switching out the same thing for Draken Joe. Like, he would go to kill Draken Joe at that point. If Fire Dragon King mode's Demolition Fist only costs 1 point of damage to Alderaan, how much damage is Big Mom Kaido's Hakusabi do to Alderaan? 0. Natsu is stronger than both of them, you're aware of that. Like, Natsu would body both Kaido and Big Mom. Like, Fairy Tail power levels are ridiculous compared to One Piece. One Piece has fallen behind in comparison to a lot of other big shonen adjacent to it. Like, Naruto got more powerful, Bleach got more powerful, Fairy Tail got more powerful. Seven Sins I don't think is more powerful outside of like the Chaos stuff, but that's just hype right now. But they have more hacks, if that's one thing. Black Clover is close. I mean, with the stuff with like Lucifaro and like some of these devils, like Black Clover is in the real close range of overtaking One Piece. Hell, freaking if Build King didn't get axed, it would already be in the running to like overtaking One Piece in terms of power levels. Alright, so get him what sure it turned out. Do you think he'll be a worse parent than Kurenai? I feel like that he might not be bad at, because we saw that he has some form of defensive nature when it comes to Izuna, so I would assume if Shura had a kid, he would probably kind of like put him on like his kid on a similar pedestal as him, where it's like, you have value but nobody else does. Ufotable always takes time. Mappa seemed more able to produce content quickly. Well, they're doing a movie. They have to stop to do a movie is the thing. Rex, I can't chat with you. Wait, Rax, I can't chat. Can you see my chat? Which one, Phil Jones? I'll scroll up. Let me see. Oh yeah, you're a manga reader. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to go much into spoilers for Jujutsu Kaisen. Ellen becomes Dove, crying. Oh, I know what you're doing. I saw that one. I saw that meme too. How did you feel about the recent Dragon Ball Super chapter? I was alright. It was a little slow. Not slow. I mean, like, the thing is with Dragon Ball Super and stuff like Boruto, is like I always view the chapters just because I know them both more weekly with Naruto and then Dragon Ball and stuff. Well, I mean, I didn't read Dragon Ball. It's coming out weekly, but you know what I mean. It's originated from a weekly series, so it has that weekly tone still somewhat to it, and the chapter was mostly set up and conversation stuff. So, like, I would only imagine if it was a weekly series at the time, that would have been, like, 4 back-to-back info and, like, setup chapters. And so it was, like, cool, but at the same time, I'm just, like, nothing really kind of got me, like, that hyped. I wasn't, like, too excited about it, but I did, like, oh, cool. I was just kind of, like, neat. I wonder what's next kind of thing. Like, nothing crazy. I want to see the granola guy. He has my interest. Like, he's kind of like, I do think he's kind of cool. So I'm hoping that they treat his character well. But obviously, it's a bit of a we'll see thing when it comes to like bad guys in Dragon Ball. You gotta be a little cautious over it. Think Wise can beat Wall? No, he's way too powerful. That's one of those things that's like power wise. It's like, yeah, it sounds like he would help, but I mean, like Wall is just so much more powerful. He would just zap around him and, you know, shoot him up with bullets or a friggin' railgun. Big Mom has been disappointing. Big Mom is an unfortunate case. Big meme for a reason. I mean, I agree on that. She's not... It doesn't hold up. Speaking of 7 Sins, can Demon King Meliodas remove Zeref's curse? No. Absolutely not. If he couldn't destroy his own curse at the Demon King's power level, he's not destroying Ankh-Saram's curse. Do you think August can solve Black Clover? Yes. What could anyone in Black Clover do to August? Because, like, the only person, you know, in Black Clover that's like, oh, because the only person that's like, he can't just, you know, deal with immediately with his instant magic copy, you know, Asta anti-magic, but he has the physical capabilities and the combat experience, seeing as he fought Guild Arts, to just put Asta in the dirt. He gets one punch on Asta, Asta's dead. Like, Mother's figure, wait, do you think Mother Figure's death do you think it was sadder, Valkyrie's or Lucida's? Oh, I mean, Valkyrie's was sadder because Valkyrie's wasn't expected. Lucida's we knew happened. We just didn't really understand what went down and like the materials. When it came to Valkyrie, it was set up like she was still around, and that was just like a really sad reveal. Demon Slayer movie came out in 2020. Yeah, but when did the anime season at first end? Because I think it was 2019. As I'm saying, it's like just assume Jujutsu Kaisen isn't coming back for at least a year after whenever the movie comes out. If you were a demi-human like so many isekai, what animal would you like to be? Oh, I want to be like a bug dude. I want to be like part ant or something. So I get like I get like superhuman strength. I have like enhanced durability. I'd probably be able to like see things through smells as well, because I know that's one of the things they can do. You know, they can see through pheromones and whatnot. That'd be sick. And I'd probably get a stinger. I could sting people. They get too attacky on me. How's the concept do you feel about Natsu for giving Aknologia after everything he did? I don't know about that. I can see Natsu, like, the way that he understands that Zeref didn't do it out of, you know, a want. That was more of stuff that happened because of his curse. But Aknologia did everything of his own free will. And that's one of the things, like, Aknologia had to die after, you know, the battle for him. He had to die. He was too dangerous to keep alive. They can't keep him around. He was too aggressive. Kimetsu no Yaiba, yeah, season 1 ended in summer of 2019. So 3 years, a 3-year gap between animes. Rax the Ant. I wouldn't mind that one. Ants are cool, man. Let's see. Yeah, I don't really know about the Jujutsu Kaisen, because it's like, I don't know if it'll be the same length, but I do think it just assume whenever the movie comes out and the anime isn't returning for a year. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna hope that I'm just gonna make the assumption that that's just gonna be the case, because that's at least how it's been shown for series that keep going on these movies. Let me look. Some of the chat start to kind of clear things. The season is hard for Eden Zero anime. I saw the first 2 episodes. It looks good. How do you feel about Naruto? Forgive me, Obito. I never really liked that. How do you feel with the theory of Asta and Libby being twin brother and their father is a high-rank devil? I don't like that either. It'd be weird. Because it's like, what happened in genetics that Asta, it doesn't look like Libby to any degree outside of their hair. Sort of, somewhat, is a similar color. But anyway, I actually am going to end it here. We're at like an hour 40. A little bit shorter than I planned, but it's not a big deal. We had a lot to talk about. Oh, don't spoil me. I'm about to read the chapter, but I have it pulled up. I just saw your link. I'm going to read the chapter probably immediately after this, and then I'll message you. Oh, what I think for the Fairy Tail Eden Zero, I think it'll be for 100 Years Quest anime, because this is the year of Fairy Tail's 15th anniversary, so we can hope. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream here. I hope you guys have a good night. And like I said, it's only Tuesday, unfortunately. We're moving to the weekend. 3 more days, and then we're gonna be at the weekend again, and we'll be close to a weekly Shonen Jump chapter set. And then yeah, we'll have more of that Candy Flurry manga, and I'm looking forward to that too. Hopefully that doesn't get canceled, because at least half of chapter 1, I've liked it so far. But anyway, other than that, you guys have a good night. I'll talk to you guys. Saturday is probably my next stream. Like I've mentioned before, just as I'm ending it, the normal streams on Saturday, I'm going to try and keep those going, and then 100 Years Quest chapter days should be streams as well. Unless something happens, then I will inform you guys about it. But just assume that's going to be the schedule for now on. You know, the 1 stream a week, every other week is a second stream. Hopefully they can make the next one longer. I don't know. I just didn't have as much to talk about in this one, because even in the 100 Years Quest chapter, it was mostly dialogue, but like that dialogue hasn't been translated yet. So I mean, like I don't have as much to work on. So the hype for that. Expect my chapter review though to be out maybe tonight. Depends on if they can get the translation done today.